Okay, it's a blown head gasket on a 2008 Mitsubishi Tiburon, and I'm going to show you how to do it, how to, step by step. And pretty much what happened is the lady was driving down the road and it got too hot and blew the head gasket. This thing has only 102,000 miles and I am the second owner. I have the original title. I could start it up right now, but it has a blown head gasket, so it's gonna mix with the oil more. But first you're gonna do is you gotta get this manifold off, get that out the way, get this intake out the way, and that's your first step to start, which I've already loosened these bolts up. These two, gotta take all the hoses off, vacuums, like I said, air duct off. These. Then it's gonna be a couple bolts back here. I'll show you in a minute after I get this stuff off. Disconnect the battery post. Okay, there's gonna be another bolt right in here, hooked to this bracket. It's gonna be right over there, and I have to see what else I have to take off. I disconnected the lines and everything from over here. You have two lines down here. You have this one that's connected here. You have to take your cables from the throttle. Those come off. And another line there. And right now, I believe I will get back and tell you what else to do. Okay, so there's going to be, right behind here, it's going to be a bracket. It's going to have a 12mm bolt about this long. And I believe there's three of them. I got one there, I got one here, and there's one more I got to get from the middle. And I believe that's it on the intake. I will get back and let you know on that. Okay, so I got it loose. Like I said, there was three bolts, one here, one there, to a bracket. I'll show you in a second. Now it's coming off. There we go, and that's the bracket right there. 1, 2, 3. And I'll pull this off. There we go. Alright. 1, 2, and 3. Now the intake's off. That's the easy part. Time to get the valve covers off and everything else around it. Then I have to take this pulley off. Also knock the crank bolt. Well, no, I don't need to take the crank bolt off. Just got to take that off, the motor mounts, and jack it up. And pretty much get everything out the way, because this car has a chain hooked to the cams, but it has a timing belt. Two of them, or one whole one I haven't seen, but I know there's a belt behind here, so it's a little different. I will be back in a second. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and break the bolts to the injectors loose. Get those out, and we're going to pop the injectors off. Actually, I have to disconnect this fuel line. Well, that's going to stay hooked to it. I can, from here, take these two bolts off. That'll disconnect from there, and this injectors will come right off. And then I will take this other intake off, take that off, and then I will break these loose and get these wires out the way. Then I'll have to work on, this is going to be pretty hard because the exhaust is pretty, it won't be too bad, hopefully, but I want to learn on this, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, I got that off, two bolts, comes right off. fuel spilling, I mean, when you do it, try to have something under it. I did have something, but I just moved it, still dripping. I'm going to pull these up. See that side's up? Distribute about even weight on, and then they'll pop off. Now, since we have that off, we'll undo the connectors and move the fuel rail. And then we'll go for this other intake and get that off. Now, we'll undo, see, it's 2, 4, 8 bolts to get that off, and that's the next step. Now that's off. This car actually is gunked up about right in there, but when you look inside, it's very clean. That's actually good. Maybe from the blown head gasket, I'm not sure, but it still runs. I started this car up. It took a while to start, but it started up and it sounded fine. But as I checked the oil, because she told me it got hot, if you look at it, it don't look very milky, but you can tell it's got some type of water mix. So, and when I took the radiator cap off and had it running, smoke coming out, not black smoke or anything, just like smoke, and it's bubbling. So it's bubbling out. After so many revolutions, it'll go, it'll pop out. So obvious that's a blown head gasket also. So yeah, I was hoping it wasn't, but now we're back to this. So next I'm going to take these covers off, and I'm going to move these wires out the way, and this line's going to be moved out the way also. And we'll go from there. Alright, that's off. Looks pretty good inside. Like I said, no oil mixed, really, but you can see it's a little mixed. Not milky, it's a little milky right there. So, that's an indication blown head gasket, okay? And see what I was saying is, this time it has a chain on it also. That's pretty sure that hooks to the crank, and also it has a belt. So it's a kind of a different system. I've never dealt with that before, but it's all good. But on this one, you have to, those same 3 bolts at the top, 1, 2, 3. You have to go to the bottom back and take them off to get this cover off, and then we'll take this off. We'll move these wires out the way, and then work towards getting this area taken care of where it's free. Once that's done, we'll undo the exhaust manifolds, and then we can break the heads loose and get them off. And then pretty much it's all the way, I mean, it's ready to you know, inspect it, see what's wrong, check the surface of the head, make sure everything's leveled, and go from there, and then put it all back together. It's not too hard. It's just a matter of taking your time, because obviously you're gonna have to redo the timing on the motor. Which, while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and change the belt and the tensioners. Might as well. The chain will be fine. I doubt the chain will go bad on me. Hopefully, cross fingers. But 102,000 miles on this car. I'm the second owner. So I'll let you know when I get to the next part. Actually, it's only 2 bolts. You can get that off. You can also get that other bracket off, but I'm gonna see if I can just take this one off. Have everything to the side right here. Try to keep organized. All my valve, all the intake bolts, valve bolts are right here. Try to keep most of those together. Then I have the intake bolts separate so that I know what bolts go where. Alright, so now it's time to separate. Here we go. There we go. Got some separation. Alright, so I got that separated some. Finished taking, don't forget about, there's a bolt here. And there is a bolt down here, and on the other side the same way, like this. And then the valve cover will come off. Alright, so back to what I was saying on the chain. The chain actually, there's this belt goes to this one sprocket, and then this chain turns both cams. So Actually, I wasn't paying attention when I had said that earlier. We got both sides off. Next, I believe I'm going to, let's see, since that's up there, I'm going to disconnect this coolant system. I'm going to start off by getting this hose off. I'm thinking they had a, seeing that that's right there, I think that this hose either busted or leaked on her, and because you see all the coolant everywhere, and that's how it got that. She told me she drove it, it got hot, and went cold, got hot, cut off. So, yep, blowing that gasket. So I'm gonna take these 2 bolts off. I'm gonna move this stuff, go around the side, and disconnect there. Actually, I'm gonna just try to take this whole bracket off without having to do all that other work, and I'll let you know how I did it. Alright, so there's going to be 2 bolts down here, one there and one right behind there. Get those 2 off, and there's going to be another 2 on the right. You see that one right there, and there's going to be another one on the opposite side. Then we got to take these heater core lines from here and disconnect these all these connectors. And I believe this whole bracket should come off, but we don't have to take everything apart. And I'll let you know in just a second. Alright, so I got the hose off, and right down in there, you see, see that bolt? Underneath there, you see the other one? Take those off. Alright, so I told you to take those 2 bolts off over there, and then there's going to be another bolt connected and to this spout, and it's right underneath this part. And then you need to come over here and take this out, and there's another bolt under there, a 10, and there's 2 more 12s right here for this, and this bracket should come off, because you got to get this out the way so you can get that off. So that's next. Now, there is a bolt that you will not really see. It's right, if you take that one out, there's one right in there, a 10. You'll get that off, and now the spout should come off. This whole assembly should come off. No problem. And there's a bolt right here you need to undo. That one right there, because these connectors will hold it in. So undo that, and it'll come right out. Alright, it's off. And there was another bolt right there holding the other bracket. Now, we have some type of view, okay? We can see all of this. Next thing I want to do is get the exhaust unmounted. Once we get that unmounted, I got to figure out what I'll need to take off for this. It shouldn't be too much, because what I'm thinking of doing is putting zip ties on the timing belt. I'm going to inspect it and see how it's looking, but I may not change it. But I see a little bit of shaving. Yeah, I'm going to change the timing belt. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm going to change it. So pretty much take these covers off next after the exhaust, and we'll get some more progress. Got the heat shield off. There's going to be 3 bolts. One there. Well, 5 bolts. One there, one there, one there, and 2 under it to get that unmounted. Then we have a whole nother other side to do. Right now, my radiator's busted, so it's easier to get to these bolts if you take the radiator out. 2 mounts. Hold it in. And on the bottom, I believe there's clips. Let me see. Okay, yeah, they just sit in there. So you pull up on it, it should come right out. And now you have to take these bolts out because it's mounted to the condenser, that bolt, and then I'm going to go ahead and take those off and move the bracket, and it should come out.